Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina returned home from Bangkok, wrapping up her 6-day official visit to Thailand. A flight of Biman Bangladeshi Airlines carrying the Premier and her entourage members landed at Hazrat Shah Jalal International Airport at 11:25 a.m. The Premier reached Bangkok on April 24th, last on the both bilateral and multilateral visit at the invitation of her Thai counterpart Srettha Thavisin to strengthen the bilateral relations between the two countries. Earlier, the Premier and her entourage members departed from Don Mueang International Airport in Bangkok at 10:10 a.m. local time. During her visit on April 26th, the Bangladesh Premier held bilateral talks with Thai Prime Minister Thavisin, where 5 bilateral documents were inked to boost bilateral ties between the Southeast Asian and South Asian countries. The Prime Minister also attended the 80th session of the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific and delivered address. Besides, during the visit, the Prime Minister paid a courtesy call on the King and the Queen of the Kingdom of Thailand. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina expressed the hope that the Islamic Development Bank will continue its support to build smart Bangladesh. The Prime Minister expressed her hope in a video message marking the 50th anniversary celebration of the bank in Riyadh, the capital of Saudi Arabia, yesterday. She said the financing of Islamic Development Bank has played a positive role in different sectors of Bangladesh.
Bangladesh, as a founding member of the Islamic Development Bank, has remained a trusted partner since its inception in 1975. The bank has been providing financial support to Bangladesh in the form of grants, project loans, trade financing, private sector financing, and export credit guarantees. Bangladesh has received financial support of about $26 billion from all affiliated entities of the Islamic Development Bank. This support has significantly contributed to the Bangladesh in areas of power and energy, transport, local government and rural development, community housing, agriculture, healthcare, and education.
The ongoing heat wave across the country will continue at least for 2 more days. The scorching heat has disrupted public lives across the country. Due to the heat wave, the Meteorological Department has issued heat alert for several times. According to Bangladesh Meteorological Department, the heat might come down after May 2nd due to rainfall across the country. Health experts stress the need for special care for children and elderly people during the scorching heat. Besides, they also suggest drinking saline and enough water. Meanwhile, the High Court has ordered the closure of classes of primary, secondary schools and madrasa till May 2nd due to the ongoing severe heat wave across the country. The High Court bench of Justice K.M. Kamrul Kadir and Justice Khizr Hayat passed the order today. However, the order will not be applicable to schools where there is air conditioning system. Air examinations are ongoing at colleges and universities, especially O-level and A-level examinations. Awami League General Secretary and Road Transport and Bridges Minister Obaidul Qadir said BNP is becoming weak organizationally day by day for adopting ill strategy avoiding pro-people politics. So, BNP Secretary General Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir is making same remarks on media regularly, and he is constantly presenting fake and baseless story of repression and torture, Obaidul Qadir added. The ruling party leader said BNP has adopted a new ill strategy for concealing their failure in calling any pro-people political program. The party leaders are making evil efforts to get sympathy by presenting them as repressed and tortured, he added. Obaidul Qadir said this in a statement issued today condemning and protesting politically motivated statement of BNP Secretary General. The ruling party leader said Awami League, led by Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, remains in power with people's mandate. Obadul Kader also said different countries and organizations and their leaders congratulated Sheikh Hasina for her election as the Prime Minister for the 5th time and recognized her government. BNP, which itself is facing the crisis of existence and reached near political bankruptcy, is now talking about the government's existence, he added. The Road Transport and Bridges Minister said the government under the leadership of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina is working to improvise fortune of countrymen, and the party is also determined to establish a peaceful, safe and welfare country for the people. Foreign Minister Dr. Hassan Mahmud called upon all to refrain from accepting any new arms, including automatic weapons, for the sake of humanity. He made the call while speaking at an international conference titled Humanity at the Crossroads, Automatic Weapon System and the Challenge of Regulation in Vienna today. The foreign minister underscored that machines with the power and discretion to take human lives must be prohibited by legally binding international laws for both AI and automatic weapons. He also suggested setting global norms to effectively regulate the automatic weapons system. Highlighting the precarious situation in Gaza, Dr. Hassan Mahmud also cautioned the international community against opening a new front of conflicts and tensions. Austria expressed its interest to recruit capable manpower from Bangladesh to invest in producing energy from green sources, air and garbage, and to open a commercial office in Dhaka. Austrian Foreign Minister Alexander Schallenberg placed the proposals during a bilateral meeting which was held on the sideline of an international conference titled Humanity at the Crossroads, Automatic Weapon System and the Challenge of Regulation in Vienna. Mentioning the ample opportunities of bilateral trade and Austrian investments in Bangladesh, the ministers emphasized on signing the proposed agreements soon to enhance communication among trade representatives and to avoid double tax. They also agreed to strengthen their bilateral relations, including economic cooperation, enhancing trade and investment, and Rohingya issue. Top-ranking officials from both countries were present at the bilateral meeting. Earlier on Sunday, Foreign Minister Dr. Hassan Mahmud unveiled a vast sculpture of Father of the Nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, and paid tribute to him at Embassy and Permanent Mission of Bangladesh in Vienna. The government wants to import cloned rubber plant of high-yielding varieties from India so that Bangladesh can enhance its rubber production. As part of the initiative, a 5-member delegation of Indian Rubber Board came to Bangladesh following the invitation of Bangladesh Rubber Board to witness the rubber production process this morning. The Indian team visited Datmara Rubber Garden, Nursery and Rubber Processing Factory in Phatickchari under Bangladesh Forest Industries Development Corporation. Chief of Indian Delegation Bhashan Tagesan said quality of rubbers in Bangladesh and India are different as production process vary in the two neighboring countries, even if climates are same. At the same time, he also said rubber production of Bangladesh will enhance if high-yielding variety are planted here, which will enable Bangladesh to export rubbers in the world market. Speaking on the occasion, Chairman of Bangladesh Rubber Board, Saida Sarwar Jahan said the government is trying to import cloned rubber plants from India to increase its production in Bangladesh. Now, international news. At At least 27 Palestinians have been killed, including many children and women, in overnight Israeli attacks on Rafah and Gaza City. Among the victims, at least 20 people were killed in separate Israeli strikes on homes in Rafah overnight, including 9 members of the Abu Taha family. 7 Palestinians were also reported killed in 2 Israeli attacks on Gaza City. Meanwhile, Hamas officials are set to travel to Egypt's capital on Monday for a fresh round of ceasefire talks. Besides, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken arrived in Riyadh as part of Middle East trip aimed at securing ceasefire and increasing humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip. Meanwhile, the UN Mine Actions Agency estimates that 37 million tons of debris litter the streets of Gaza that will take more than a decade to clear up. The debris include up to 10,000 unexploded ammunition. At least 34,454 Palestinians have been killed and 77,575 wounded in Israeli attacks on Gaza since October 7th. Ukraine's commander-in-chief has said the situation on the front line has worsened in the face of the multiple Russian attacks. Alexander Syrskyi said Ukrainian forces had withdrawn from positions in the eastern Donetsk region. Russia is trying to take advantage of its superiority in manpower and artillery before Ukrainian forces to get much-needed supplies of new U.S. weapons. The U.S. last week agreed a $61 billion package of military aid for Ukraine. But new U.S. weapons are yet to make their way to the front lines, where Ukrainian troops have been struggling for months with a shortage of ammunition, troops and air defenses. Russia's defense ministry earlier on Sunday reported its troops had captured the village of Novobakhmutivka, around 10 kilometers north of Avdiivka. Japan's Prime Minister Fumio Kishida faced a fresh setback today after his scandal-hit ruling party lost 3 parliamentary seats in weekend by-elections. Results from the local election, authorities and media exit polls showed his Liberal Democratic Party, LDP, lost all 3 of its seats up for grabs to the Constitutional Democratic Party of Japan, the country's largest opposition. The losses in Tokyo, Shimane and Nagasaki, which could threaten Kishida's position as party leader in a vote later this year, came after the LDP has rocked by a major kickback scandal linked to political fundraising parties. Local media said today that the election losses could encourage LDP lawmakers to try to bring down Kishida when his term as party leader expires in September. At least 5 people, including a 4-month-old baby, have been killed after dozens of tornadoes swept through the central U.S., causing serious damage. Tens of thousands of residents were left without power following separate storms that began on Friday. 4 of the deaths happened in Oklahoma, where a state of emergency has been declared in a dozen counties. A 5th person died from their injuries in Iowa after a separate storm system hit the Midwest, local media reported. The National Weather Service, NWS, said a preliminary investigation had confirmed some of Saturday's tornadoes had gusts of above 218 km/h. The storms, which swept from Texas to Missouri, also saw up to 7 inches of rainfall in some places within hours. Now, news on sports. Kolkata Knight Riders are now batting against Delhi Capitals with a victory target of 154 runs in the lone match of the day of the IPL in Eden Gardens. Earlier, Delhi Capitals batted first and scored 153 runs for 9 in their stipulated 20 overs. To end the bulletin, headlines once again. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina returns home from Bangkok, wrapping up her 6-day official visit to Thailand. Cooperation of Islamic Development Bank to be continued to build smart Bangladesh, hopes Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Extreme heatwave sweeping over the country to continue for at least 2 more days, forecast Met Office. BNP spreading propaganda regularly as it fails to add any new dimension in launching pro-people politics, says Obaidul Qadir. Foreign Minister Dr. Hassan Mahmood calls for not accepting new arms including AI and automatic weapons for the sake of humanity. Israeli attacks kill 27 more Palestinians in Rafah and Gaza, while Hamas going to Cairo to discuss Gaza ceasefire today. And Kolkata Knight Riders now facing Delhi Capitals at Eden Gardens in IPL. And that's all from the newsroom for the women. Thank you for staying with us, and we invite you to watch our 11:30 Bangla News. Until then, Khuda Hafiz.